and welcome everybody. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, so thanks so much for joining us this afternoon for our webinar on Marketing Automation Simplified, the key to effective CX. And I think all of us are pretty kind of aware of this topic, that when we want to have effective CX, we have to be repeatable, we have to be process driven, and we have to be consistent. And it really helps us if we get the automation piece correct on that. Manual always leaves room for errors, and it's also pretty painful to do, as most of us who've done it manually will also tell you. So today we want to talk about how do we get the automation piece right, and how does it play a part in effective customer experience. And we're really honored to have with us two very special speakers. So we have Madhukar Uniyal, who's the head of solutions consulting for Oracle Marketing Cloud India. And we also have Amardeep Bajpai, who's the CMO for Rento Mojo. And this is part of a series on CX that we are doing with Oracle. So this is season 3 that we're doing with them. And for those of you who are return attendees to our webinars, thank you. And it's so great to see you again. And for those who are new, you will know that it's pretty casual. You can ask all the questions you want on the chat window, though we may not be able to answer them live. What we will do is ask the speakers to take questions as soon as they are done with their particular session. So just post in the questions and we will keep trying to answer them in the chat window. So with that, I'm going to hand over to our first speaker. If you could share your screen, please.
Hey, Jesse, this is Madhukar. I believe I'm going first. I have just shared my screen. Just let me know if you can see it.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, great. And
so I'm going to mute myself.
Great. Okay, cool. So let me just. Okay, I will just put the slide deck on. Can you see the slide deck?
Yes, we can.
Great. Okay. All right. So hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this session. My name is Madhukar, and I work as a principal consultant, master principal consultant for Oracle Marketing Cloud, and I also head the solution consulting team for the region here in India. As part of my role at Oracle, really we work with marketers, with prospects, with customers as a trusted partner, as a trusted advisor to bridge the gap between what their expectations are from the marketing automation side of things, and then what technology Oracle has to offer. So really, what I'm going to talk about today is, and again, the agenda is marketing simplified. So we're going to just keep it simple. We'll talk about what is Oracle's vision, what Oracle thinks of marketers' universe. Then we'll talk about, what is Oracle doing in this space? What do we understand as consultants talking to marketers almost every day? What do we hear the problems are? And then we'll talk about, marketing automation, some specifics on what marketing automation is and what Oracle is doing in making marketing automation simplified. So for a moment, let's just take the marketer's hat, the technology hat off, and just think about humans. As a human, if we look at our universe, we have, these billions and millions of planets out there, largely unknown universe. We really don't know whether there is a life out there. How many planets are? We don't even know the count, right? So there are millions and millions of stars, largely unknown universe. Then we have another set of planets which are a little bit known to us, like Mars or Moon. We have some idea that in these planets, what's the gravity like, what's the water, what's the air, what's the different oxygen level, and so on. And then we have our home Earth, the very well-known planet, right? We know everything about our planet. We love our home. So this is how we humans look at the universe. Likewise, from a marketer's perspective, there is this unknown universe. There are millions and millions of people, unknown prospects or suspects out there. These are people who don't even know we exist as a brand or as a company. Or maybe they know we exist, but they're not our consumers, they're not our customers. Or maybe they are with someone else, but they've never come to our site, they've never downloaded our app, they don't know our existence. And we want to reach out to these unknowns. Then we have the little known. These are people, probably they've been our customer long back. Maybe they've come to our site and experienced our digital properties. Maybe they've downloaded the app. Maybe they've done some handshake with us, but they're not our customers yet. And then we have customers, a very high definition view. We know, who our customers are, what their preferences are, what's their, ticket size, what kind of products they like to purchase, how often they're on our site, how often they interact with us. So as a marketer, we are always in this constant, journey or a funnel where we're looking at these suspects, these unknowns. We try to acquire them, and once they become prospects, we try and engage them, entice them, excite them so that they become customers. And once they become customers, we give them the right experience, what they're looking for, and make sure that they convert, they expand, we do cross-sell, upsell, and so on. So really, on the left-hand side is what we call advertising, from many to some. And on the right-hand side of this deck, you will see marketing, which is sum to one. And we are always, as a marketers, looking at how do we find out these unknowns through advertising, paid media, and how do we get them to our site, make them convert, make them transact. So if we just stick down a little bit more in this unknown universe, in this little known and well known, which is suspects, prospects, and customers, the kind of the kind of spacecraft we need, the kind of vehicles we need, the kind of tools we need. Literally, if you look at the channels, we are relying on the paid media, the search, display, social media, and the data sources are something which we do not own, like the cookie IDs, we do custom audience and so on. And the KPIs are very different. What we are tracking is, cost per acquisition, cost per conversion, click-through rate, and so on. Once they come to our site or app, once they become little known to us, once they sign up for a newsletter and so on, we try and, gauge the KPIs differently. We look at conversion rate. We look at average time spent on the site, what kind of content they're looking at, how many pages they view, and so on. And once they become our customers, the KPI changes, the data source changes. So we look at repeat purchase, average order value, cross-sell, upsell conversion, and so on. So these are really the three broad segments or three broad categories, how we can divide our suspects, prospects, and customer. And really, we've been always looking at consumer buying process to be linear. So you make people aware about your products and services. Some of them will get familiar. A few of them will consider you. Maybe one or few of them will, purchase the product, become a customer, and then to the end goal, which is loyalty. So again, just mapping the suspects, prospects, and customer. But what McKinsey says, and what we all will agree to, is that it's no more a linear process anymore. It's more like a circular loop, where it all starts with a trigger when a need is identified. Like I was looking for a new car a couple of years back. My old car was like really old. So there was a need for me, and that was a trigger point for me to start looking at, a new car. And I started doing my evaluation. I started going to these digital property. By the way, 80% of the research is done online these days. So I also started the same thing. I started looking at blogs. I started looking at, various options that are there in the market, fuel economy, and so on. Step number 3 is I actually went to the dealer and I made a purchase. And I've had really good experiences in the last couple of years with this, with the car that I have. The service has been pretty good for my pocket. The fuel economy has been good. So really, I have a very good experience. And most likely, a few years down the line, when I look for a new car, I'll have a very, good mind share for the same brand that I'm driving today. So the key message here is that it's all about signals. Right from the time when I'm there, looking at blogs, reading comparison websites, doing research on the car, all the way to when I become a customer and go for my servicing. All these places, all these channels throughout being a customer, from a suspects to prospects, I'm leaving a lot of signals. And it's all about capturing these signals. So if it's that straightforward, then where do we see a problem? And again, I'm talking more from a consultant's point of view, from a point of view of, when we talk to marketers, when we talk to prospects, when we talk to our existing customer, what do they say? Well, they say the problem is precisely what we discussed in the previous slide. We have different channels for paid media. We have different channels for optimization, personalizing our website and app, and we have different email channel. We have a different tool for doing SMS delivery, and we have a different app, and call center sits differently. So different channels, different data, it's all scattered all over the place. So we do not really cannot orchestrate a customer journey all the way from suspects to prospect to customer and to a loyal customer and so on and so forth. So really, and what we believe is the solution is not to look at these different universe with different glasses, with different telescope, but have a single view. From a marketer's perspective, I'm the same customer when I have a CRM ID. I'm the same customer with that email ID. I'm the same customer whether I have 2 devices or 3 devices. So I can have a CRM ID, I can have a social ID, I can have a mobile ID, email ID, and so on and so forth. Uh, but is there a way that we can create a single customer view? And that's what we at Oracle call the Oracle ID graph. Um, so it's like a keychain where you can have different keys for different rooms in your house, but a keychain basically makes sure that all the keys are combined together. And really what this Oracle ID graph, which we closely are working on, and it's basically how we've acquired these different companies, and we've bought the marketing automation with advertising companies that we acquired, and how we're building these integrated cross-channel ID graph is by having your online identifiers and bringing in the offline identifiers and preparing a single customer view or a master profile for the marketers to use. So once you have the data, and by the way, data is the bedrock of not just marketing automation tool, but any tool for that matter, whether it's CRM tool, whether it's any other platform or any other tool, the data has to be right. And that's where I'll come to the next part, which is 4 key pillars of marketing automation. So it all starts with data, which is your profile. How do you build a true 360 customer view, not just on the email behavior, but the behavior on SMS, the behavior on your website, the behavior outside of your ecosystem. Then the next pillar is campaign. How do you create a very channel specific communication? Like how do you create an email campaign, SMS campaign, a display campaign, and orchestrate it, bring these all different channel specific communication, bring these campaigns together to create the orchestrated customer journey. And finally, have a look at how your analytics is working, which campaign is working, what type of display campaigns are giving me more click-through rate, and what type of campaigns are giving me better conversion, so on. So we'll touch upon each one of these pillars quickly, but it's not like a parallel pillars. It's more like circular in nature. It all starts with profile, as I said. So on the profile side, you bring in all these data together. Like what I said, the ID graph ensures that you can bring in your your offline data, your analytics data, your website behavior, your channel specific behavior, any behavior from the mobile app, and create a true 360-degree customer view. And Oracle ID graph, by the way, is one of the way to get this the customer view together. And then once you have the
one question. Sorry, there's a question that you might want to answer right here. Is this a probabilistic model of identifying customers?
Well, it's both probabilistic and deterministic. That's a good question. So, when we say probabilistic, it's looking at non-explicit information. Like if you are on the same, if you're on the same Wi-Fi with 3 different devices and you are using pretty much looking at the same website on the same Wi-Fi, that's basically one of the way to identify that you're the same user. Oracle acquired a company called Crosswise, which essentially is cross-device identification. And we baked that that company literally is part of our, the ad tech and marketing tech ecosystem. So yes, we do both probabilistic and deterministic to create the ID graph. Great, yeah. So once you have the profile, and profile is essentially the place where you do segmentation, micro segmentation. You divide your big customer profile base into different chunks and different small segments. And once you do that, you design some campaigns, some channel specific communication. Now it's important that whichever platform you use should not just be a simple, tool where you can, let's take email, for example. It should not be just a tool where you can bring in your HTML and create email, but it should support next level of all the sophistication in email marketing or communication. So if you look at this example here, this is an email, but you can actually do make it you know interactive. It's called kinetic email that we and our team here have developed. So it literally is like a site within an email. So you have to be very innovative when you create these sort of marketing campaign and these communication. I'll show you. In fact, I'll show you a live example. We were just working on one of the examples just recently. So yeah, and being a consultant, it's always exciting to work on these these tools and these new innovation that we are doing in our company. So this is like one of the email um, template. But what this email template is, when I hover over my mouse on this email, it actually just changes on the fly, right? So within the same email, there's so much of content, there's so much of information that I'm sending out. So that segmentation and that profile is no good if you cannot send the exciting and the most um, you know soothing communication, the best communication to that audience, to that segment. So this is just one of the example. I thought I'll just share this email template with you. So, moving on, once we design these channel specific communication, the next thing, it's just the other example of how you basically can create the carousel as well within the email. And the next part is orchestration. So you've created, let's say, a display campaign, you've created a email campaign, you've created SMS campaign, you've created different channel specific communication. The next thing that we do is orchestrate, which essentially means give the canvas and the brushes to the marketer to create the right journey for the customer. So it could be, as just drag and drop thing where you can say, okay, I want to target all the customers, those who are not active. I want to target them with advertising campaign. In fact, I can show this to you live, where this is how the orchestration looks like. So basically, these are all my brushes and this is my canvas. And I'm saying, give me all the customers and then see those who are actively engaged with me on my marketing channels, which is email, SMS, push notification, call center, any other channel. Then take them to the MarTech communication, which is select the best time to send them a communication, see what their preferences are. If they like email, if they are more engaged on email, then send them email, SMS, or push, and so on, and see if they've converted. But if they're not active, if they're just not reading my emails or the emails is bouncing off or there's any other problem, then let's just create a website experience. So whenever they come to my website, I want to show them a different experience, like, welcome back, or we missed you, or anything like that. But at this point, if I also want to target them with a display campaign, for example, if they're not opening my email, they're not responding to my communication, but I just want to target them, let's say on any other publisher website, or I want to target them on social, I can just drag and drop and create the right journey for them. If they convert at the end of my campaign and all the communication that I'm sending, if they finally convert, which means they fill up the form or they make a purchase or whatever I call my conversion, then I want to send this information back to my data management platform and probably do a lookalike modeling to find out more people like these who are opening my communication, who are responding to my communication, who are converting. And if not, then maybe I can send them to a more costlier channel, which is my call center for outbound communication. So this is step number 4 in the journey, where we can orchestrate things. So from data to campaign to orchestration, and finally comes analytics. So ultimately, I'm doing all this to know how my campaigns are performing. Are we driving success? Which campaign should I get rid of? What type of social campaign or email campaign, or which channel is working better for me? And can I attribute my revenue to my marketing campaign? So, if I want to just measure revenue by what segment of customers are spending more time, what type of customers are actually converting, those who are repeat visitor versus first time visitors, all that analytics should come in one place. So really, if I have to summarize, from Oracle perspective, and what we believe in is that the key to effective customer experience is not just marketing, but it is basically three things that have to come together. The data, which is the bedrock, and we being a database company, we take proud in saying that data has to be the bedrock. And we made some enhancements on Oracle ID Graph as just one of those things. But yeah, connected data, connected intelligence, and connected experiences. Again, from a connected data perspective, we should have the capability to bring one master from different sources. So whether it's a third party data, whether it's a transactional data, behavioral data, there has to be one place where we can bring this data together to create segments and micro segments and do research and analysis. And there should be intelligence, which means whether it's adaptive intelligence, AI, which is part of most of our product these days, like next best action, next best offer, send time optimization, multivariate testing, choosing the right email for the right customer with the right products, whether it's IoT or whether it's behavioral analytics, and then connected experience. As I said, if we just focus on marketing, and if we are not focusing on the service side of it, or if you're not focusing on the sales side of it, then it's not going to give you the right results. So it's a connected experience throughout the suspects to prospect to customer to loyal customers journey. So yeah, that's really what I wanted to cover in my session. And I will just have a look at the questions now. I saw some chats there.
Madhukar, before you answer those questions, I was just wondering at an overall level, a couple of things. One is, do you see a role for AI in automation and CX?
Yeah, absolutely, Jesse. And AI is going to be central to a lot of things, right? I mean, today, I'll give you a simple example. Today, with a lot of marketers that we work with, they say, I want to send this type of offer to this segment. So people from let's say, those who are my high value customer, I want to pitch them these products, and those who are, and those who are average customers, I want to pitch these products and so on. But you really don't know whether average customer is looking for a high-end product, but through their behavioral data, like what are they looking at on your website, all these clickstream data, their past behavior, past purchase, when it is taken into account, it is not possible for just humans to just figure out what's the best product for which customer. So in these cases, AI and Oracle is also has recently launched the adaptive intelligence apps, which is going to be integral part of all our marketing portfolio and marketing solution, where things like next best offer, choosing the best time to send a communication, finding the right email communication for the right segment of customer, all that is going to be AI driven.
And this is linked to someone talked about, how do we handle customer inertia? My question is more around customer fatigue. So with automation, we get to be repeatable, targeted, consistent, all of that good stuff. But the fact is the customer is receiving a lot of irrelevant information from others as well. So what's your view, and how do we overcome fatigue, inertia, whatever it is, to get some action from this communication?
Yeah, that's a very important point, Jesse, because with so much of tools and different tools that we use for communication, like in a lot of cases, what I've seen is there is a separate tool for email marketing, there's a separate tool for SMS communication, there's a separate tool for mobile app notification, there's a separate tool for advertising, there's a separate tool for social, right? So one of the solution is the orchestration that I just talked about. So if you have one tool where you can create a customer journey, it's much more easier for you to say that I can just exclude customers from receiving more than 2 communication in a week. Or if I'm already targeting a customer on the marketing channel, which is email and SMS, then maybe I don't want to target them on the advertising channel. So yeah, you have to have one place where you can orchestrate a journey. Only then I think we can manage customer fatigue. If we continue to use different channel for communication and different data sets for communication and different tools for communication, then it has to be manual, which is going to take a lot of effort.
Great. Thank you so much. And there are a number of questions for you in the chat window. So I'm going to kind of request you to answer those when we get started with the next session. So thanks so much, Madhukar. And we have our next speaker with us, Amardeep Bajpai, who is with Renter Mojo. And Renter Mojo is a very interesting model. You can rent pretty much everything. You can rent mattresses, shirts, anything. And so it's a very modern business and much repeat touch points with the customers. So we thought it'd be great to have an expert practitioner view on customer experience and how we can use marketing automation for that. So with that, I'm going to hand over the floor to Amardeep Bajpai.
Sure. Thank you. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, you are, Amardeep.
Wonderful. Okay. So I was introducing briefly Renter Mojo. Renter Mojo is a financial leasing company, and help people buy assets, or use them, rent them, whichever way, and then get our returns when people pay rentals. So that's how the business model kind of works. We have pioneered a concept called smart ownership, which essentially means that one can pick up anything, and then one can have these five important kind of features. The first one being that one can rent a particular item. The second is one can return it. You can swap, for a new product or whatever. You can, or upgrade or different. And then, if you want to kind of buy the product after say 6 months or 12 months, you can essentially go ahead and pay at the differential and can get it permanent. Kind of provide relocation benefits. So if you move from one city to the other, we change, we shift the stuff for you, relocate it free for you. So that's how it kind of works. For us, marketing automation makes a lot of sense because we need to be constantly engaged with the customer. We need to be constantly engaged with the customer, and the association with the customer is for a very long time. It's not a small one-time kind of an engagement. Typically, a customer which comes to us remains with us for 18 to 36 months, and that's a very long period. We also see a lot of people who rent one stuff from us, taking more of those. Hence, we typically try to divide our automation at two levels. One is user-oriented automation, and other is campaign-oriented automation. Can you flip the slide, please? Yeah. So if I look at user level automation, it begins with having a more intelligent chatbot, uh, collecting leads in a conversational format, answer FAQs, connect with support if there is a specific query, automated product suggestions on a product page, and add to cart. Automated testimonial sections on each product. So various levels of user level automation which we use to connect with our customers. When I look at campaign level, can you flip the slide, please? Yeah. So when I look at campaign level, we can have transaction drip campaigns, all the communication after an order is placed. We also have something called KYC, which is very critical to us because we being a financial services company, we need to know our customer better, and there are certain guidelines to it. So how the KYC process update happens. During the process, if somebody has got questions, so we'd like to see automation there. Delivery schedule automation, tracking of delivery, and then monthly rent reminders in a way so that they don't look very pushy. when we are doing things like lead nurturing campaigns, that also kind of becomes extremely critical for us. And finally, how do we review our campaigns through our automation funnel? So these are some of the areas where we have successfully kind of integrated um, marketing automation in our this journey, and it has resulted so marketing automation for us, it is not a thing which we like to do as an add-on. It's part of the core strategy for us. I think without marketing automation, our service delivery itself will be severely impacted. Thank you.
Madhukar, there was a question earlier which is relevant to this, which is how do we actually stand out in the customer's inbox? I mean, how do we overcome customer fatigue or inertia with all of this?
Yeah, and I responded to that question. So, look, I mean, you cannot.
No, sorry, Madhukar, I also wanted Amardeep to just touch upon that if possible.
Yeah, yeah. Amardeep, can you share your perspective
Yeah.
on how do you ensure? Yeah.
Yeah. So, as I talked about, at two levels we try to automate, you at user levels and at campaign levels. One of the techniques which we have successfully used in terms of reducing fatigue is by limiting a number of conversations. So, to a particular user, only a certain number of communication will go, and if we have exceeded that, then we won't send any further communication within a period of time. So suppose the limit is say 3 communications which we can send, which we have set for ourselves. Then we after 3 will stop, and for the next time we'll try to prioritize. So if we see that there is a frequent customer which is coming to us again and again, we would prioritize which ones to kind of send. Rather than just to kind of give an example, if somebody gets a rent reminder and also comes to say our website and initiates a chatbot interaction with us, then and probably it's his birthday also, so we will say probably not send the birthday greeting, but if he is not kind of in any other way, he has not interacted with us, then probably we'll send the birthday greeting. So there's one of the examples which we have kind of, so we have tried to limit that. That's one of the key kind of cornerstones of our automation practice. I don't know if I was able to answer it to some degree or not.
Yes, I think you did. And thanks so much for joining us today with the expert perspective. Just one passing thought before I let you go, Amardeep, which is, do you see a lot of adoption of artificial intelligence in this space?
I think that's something which is a very relevant question. The way marketing automation is moving, I think it's not going to be possible to do it manually or in a rule-based manner going forward. The only way ahead is artificial intelligence. As I told you, one of the key problems which we face while communicating is that which should be the messages which should get prioritized, and what medium should we use to do that. And rule-based algos do not really give us that kind of finesse in terms of our communication. So AI is definitely the way to go.
Great. So thank you so much, Amardeep. If you do see
Thank
any
you.
other questions you'd like to answer on the chat window, go ahead. I'm going to just ask one more question to Madhukar. I mean, I see that he's answering a lot of stuff on the chat window, but specifically there was a question on B2B. So Madhukar, do you have thoughts on that? Because I have some views on that as well.
Yeah. I was actually going to respond to that question. What's the ideal strategy for B2B? So number one thing, guys, we at Oracle believe that B2B and B2C are very different, very different ballgame altogether. To give you a very simple example is, if you ask me, do I run? My answer will be yes. I am into running. But if you ask me, am I into sprint or marathon? Then I have to think, right? So it's the same way. Both the solution are there to send communication over email and SMS and push, but it's very different game altogether. In B2B space, you have to, it's a considered purchase, right? So imagine you're selling a software to a large enterprise. There's not just one buyer, but there's a team of buyers who will take a decision. They will do evaluation. They will go through the RFP process, probably 6 months, 7 months down the line. They will take a decision. Likewise, when you go out for, for a property, you just don't go there like a house and buy it, but you do research. You go to the website, you fill up a form, you actually pay a visit to the site, you talk to the sales guy. There are a lot of data, a lot of digital behaviors and offline behaviors and a sales process involved in B2B. In B2C, it's quite impulsive purchase. So you receive an email, 50% off, Bing. I like it, click on it, go to the site and buy it. So I'd say with B2C, the problem that we have seen really from a consultant point of view again is scale. It's massive in B2B, in B2C, but in B2B, it's more unitary, one at a time sort of thing. And that's really where you need different tools in your hands to be successful in a B2B environment versus a B2C environment.
If I can just add to that, I actually think B2B is more rule based because B2B, I mean, when we're talking about a large purchase, it is rules driven, as in there's a process, and at different stages in the process, different levels of content are required. And so while the impulse opportunity isn't there, there is a way to educate them richly and based on the last bit of information or touch point. So actually B2B makes it really amenable to automation in some ways. And also things like a chatbot really help in surfacing the relevant information from the tons of data that is out there. So and kind of screen the customer from the huge amount of content that we have in white papers, research, etc. So that would be my 2 bits. There is a question which broadly, I mean, either Amardeep or you could answer, which is, what are the parameters that you prioritize when you look at automation? The question has come in a number of ways from a number of people.
Yeah, Jesse, I'll kind of answer that question. There are, so it actually depends from business to business and which parameters are the most critical to you, and when you would want to make sure that you automate that part of the communication in definitely one way or the other. So for us, one of the key things is that rental reminders are very, very critical, which we send out to existing customers. The other thing which is very critical is that when there is a drop in the funnel, that's very, very critical to us. That especially at the add to cart level, somebody is adding a product and then there is a drop which happens, and then it becomes a very critical kind of this thing for us. And so in all other communication, if we have put using a single database, then we try to prioritize these over others. So that I'm just trying to kind of keep it very simple so that it becomes clearer in that sense. But yeah, these will be some of our. So these communications will prioritize, say, over say a regular sale communication or a service communication or a various other birthday communication, for example. So we will try to prioritize these.
Great. I think we have time for only one last kind of comment. So there have been numerous questions around how do we integrate FB and Google into this? So Madhukar, do you want to comment on that?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely, Jesse. So, when you say how do we integrate tools like Facebook and Google, both Facebook and Google allow you to basically, send your audiences for targeting. So, I mean, a simple example would be, and we do this all the time, right? That if there are a bunch of customers, segment of customers who are just not responding to our email. Probably the email is going to spam, or maybe they've just stopped communication or they're unsubscribed. Whatever reason, if I cannot reach to them one-on-one, then I can push this segment to AdWords, or I can push this segment to Facebook for custom audience and run my actual campaign there. So can you create the Google campaign and the Facebook campaign within the automation tool? Probably not. But can you push this segment out to Google and Facebook so that you can create your actual campaign within the Facebook and Google panel? Absolutely, yes. It's basically audience sharing that we do all the time through our data management platform.
Great. So with that, and okay, there's one last question which I leave for both of you, which is what are the practical difficulties of a 360-degree integration?
Sure, Amardeep, if you want to share practitioners and real life experience of facing challenges with a 360-degree customer view.
Okay, yeah. 360-degree customer view, though ideal, puts a lot of challenges. And one of the key things is that without a very high quality automation tool, it is not possible to kind of keep a tab on it. So I think that's one of the things. Also, the customer, whatever you communicate to customer and whatever customer communicates to you in digital world doesn't get lost. So while you have that view, it kind of becomes tough to because a customer is in varying stages of happiness and delight, and how you communicate to him at various stages, that's a continuous journey rather than fixed this thing. So we might have a great experience once, and we might have a very bad experience a while later, and it kind of keeps changing. Some of these I think these are the two kind of key things which I would like to point out among many more.
Yeah, and Amardeep, I'll just chime in there. So a lot of time, we believe that our customer 360-degree is where the automation is. But creating a customer 360 is a separate project than the marketing automation. A customer 360 is basically a master profile that we're talking about, which will have your transactional data, which will have your clickstream data, which will have your app interactions, purchase, whatnot. And marketing automations are really built for scale communication. So these two things should be looked at separately, and that's what we also basically at Oracle decided that we will look at the Oracle ID graph differently, and this Oracle ID graph will be a central place where we can pass on data to marketing automation or an advertising platform or the data management platform. So yes, it's a huge exercise. But you have to have the right tools and right technology in place to build a 360.
Great. With this, we're out of time. So thanks so much to Amardeep and to Madhukar for sharing their insights with us. And thanks to all of you for joining us today. And quick reminder that we will be sharing a paper on marketing automation simplified with all of you. So hopefully that will help us to drive the conversation post the webinar as well. So thanks once again. A chat window is open for another 5 minutes if you would like to continue the conversation over there as well. And with that, thank you so much. And you can email us if you want any questions clarified, anything like that, or if you'd like to connect with our host for today. Thanks so much. Have a great afternoon.
Hey, Jesse.
Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Hi, Jesse. I just
Thank
asked
you.
you about I asked you one question actually. It's regarding B2B marketing strategy. As we were discussing about B2B platform. Sorry, this is Shrikant. Forgot to introduce myself. Hello.
Yeah, I'm there.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm there.
So, okay. So just wanted to know.
Shrikant, I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, there
So we were
are,
discussing about B2B platform actually.
yeah, so there are B2B content platforms, even Outbrain, yeah, maybe, but there are specific ones that exist just for B2B content, and those do work. So people do download white papers if
So
it's interesting for them. Webinars also work. So there are a ton of things you can do to propagate content. I wouldn't say Taboola or Outbrain, but there are others that I don't want to name. But even like a LinkedIn would work, even Facebook, Google, all of them work in the strategy. It's just a question of, it's not the impulsive thing that works for B2C, but in B2B, it's a process driven content outbound approach.
yeah, so the basic thing here is all about educating your clients, about your product or services when
Mm-hmm,
it comes to B2B. Okay,
mm-hmm.
so platform like Taboola and Outbrain, when we try this thing, though it works sometimes, but most of the time, irrelevant. I mean, don't take. I mean, I'm not taking any of the current platform currently name, but the kind of traffic coming to a website from the that particular any of the particular channel is not that great. And when it comes to LinkedIn, it is it is very high sometimes, in terms of ROI driven
Right.
thing. So there is there
So
any
if
special
you
strategy,
connect
to
with
get
me
traffic?
offline, I will suggest some B2B tools for you. Like I said, Taboola and Outbrain are mostly B2C tools. So connect with me offline, and maybe we can give you some advice on that as well.